I've seen videos on internet where students protesting about financial exclusion. And guys, some of you might not be understanding what we're processing for and what is financial exclusion. If you're a first timer, please like, share guys, subscribe, and comment down below guys how was this video or for any future videos. Let's go guys. When you enter to university, obviously you need financial aid. So it can be self-funded, a bursary, or NSFAS funded. So most of these things, they cover the cost, the accommodation, the cost, but they do differ. So a bursary and NSFAS, they are different. So there's a certain amount that they give you. Now let's say you are through the year. Then guys, at the end of the year, you decided not to do well on your academics. Let's say you failed more than 50%. For a bursary, they immediately drop out because they don't want you to fail any module. But for a NSFAS, it have the conditions. If you fail more than 50% of your studies, that is where they drop you, or that is where you have to appeal. So this is when major crisis arises. When you fail, they don't pay for that module. And most of the modules, they cost from, I think, 4,000 to upwards. So you can have a module that's costing 15,000. You can have a module that's costing 4,000. When you fail, they don't pay for that module. So what they does is, that module is going to be in your debt. So that is where you're going to have that debt. So that is where most of the people they cannot graduate because they have to pay the debt. So when you come back next year to re-register, now the university, because of its policies, is going to tell you different things. They will not allow you to register because of the various reasons. Let me explain. So students with debt less than 10,000 will be allowed to register, but they must pay the 50%. In which sometimes the 50%, if you are owing maybe 10,000 straight away, you cannot pay the 5,000. Sometimes it's difficult to pay for us, especially for us, mostly who are from the disadvantaged background, or in our parents cannot pay for our tuition fees. Student might sign an online acknowledgement of debt, which means it's an AOD. You are going to agree that you're going to pay later on, but right now we're going to allow you to register. Proof of income sometimes is needed, and consent form and other guys to support the statement that you cannot pay the 10,000 or the outstanding debt, or even the 50%. So the student who doesn't fall along the categories that I just named right now, he's required or she required to pay the whole debt, in which it's a problem to pay the whole debt. Now let's get into the second category, in which guys, to people who are owing from 10,000 to 120,000, because after 120,000, that is called a historical debt, which means it will be there. But for 10,000 to 120,000 doesn't mean that it will not be there. It will be there. But for these people who guys are owing more than 10,000, and especially most of the students, they are owing more than 10,000, it's because how expensive the tuition fees are. Now these people are required to pay guys the full amount of it, especially who doesn't fall along the categories of the first option, in which they are required to pay the whole of it. If maybe you're owing 50,000, you have to pay the whole 50,000, otherwise you won't register. Or even sometimes you register, you're gonna find out that you register after a month or after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, in which guys the situations or the academics, they have just started. So that will make you to stay behind, in which it's a problem because you don't have time to catch up. Now because NSFAS or bursary have dropped you, or they have left you because you struggle to fulfill their policies or their categories on how to pass. Now guys, you'll be left with no accommodation because that was your financial aid, in which guys, that's gonna find you, or that was gonna pay for you for accommodation. Now what does this mean? Which means if you are staying farm, you are forced to sleep in libraries, in which what most of students are doing right now. They're sleeping at libraries. They don't have place to accommodate them, because most of the places here around Joburg or around the CBD or around Brafontein, especially for West students, it's costing along 2.5 upwards, in which 2.5 upwards, it's a lot. Hey guys, it's too much what's going on here. There's what we call Wits hardship fund. Hardship fund was established to assist financially needy students with an outstanding balance from previous years up to 50% of their balance outstanding. The maximum eligible amount is 50,000. So hardship fund can fund you, but it can fund you for 50,000. So now let's estimate your academic fees. Let's say academic fees for the whole year is 60,000. Now, because I've said the accommodation around the CPD or around Prefontaine is costly, so the minimum accommodation that you can get is minimum of 58,000, in which that whole 50,000 is gonna cover for only is either accommodation or academic fees. In which, guys, is still very less, but the purpose of it was to assist students to register academic year or assist the upfront fee for accommodation to enable students to secure a place at university residence, because that is where university residence, that is where sometimes it can assist students who don't have financial who don't have funding like an SFAS. That is where these hardship funds is gonna supply them, or is gonna help them. I think right now my event on why students protest. Now, guys, Wits has made a partnership with SRC. So SRC mostly, they are the leaders, they are the student leaders in which they represent us when we want something, or maybe they have to meet our demands as students, especially financially. That is where the SRC takes place. Now, Wits has made a partnership with SRC. The management has been working with the SRC over past few weeks, because past few weeks, as I said, students are being sleeping at libraries. They don't have funding, especially in SFAS. It's so delaying. Some of us are trying to appeal. We don't have even the feedback, guys. It's been on the same process for over like 2 weeks, because right now it's going to at most 2 weeks. Now the week is going at 2 weeks to go to help secure funding, largely from the private sector, to enable academically deserving students to access higher education. In fact, up until last night, officials were in contact with the SRC trying to get as many qualifying students to register as possible. But I think for this year, guys, the Wits, especially Wits, has allowed students to register. That is why I'm also shocked why they are protesting. But I can say mostly they are protesting for accommodation. A lot of students are being sleeping at libraries. It is therefore comes as a surprise that despite these arrangements and working relationships which have been established, that some members of the SRC and some students have elected to protest. Wits has matched the 6.2 million rands brought in by the SRC rand to rand. Okay, Wits has matched 6.2 million rands brought in by the SRC rand to rand. In fact, there is a pot of 12.4 million available in the SRC fund for qualifying students, which means there's 12.4 million rands available. Okay. Now, guys, let's see how many students have registered for 2023 academics. Up to date, over 36,200 Wits students have registered, in which is 96% of Wits students that have registered for 2023 academic year, with postgraduate intake set to continue through the year. So now, guys, like I said, I think mostly they are protesting for accommodation. For the fees, for the academic fees, I think they have managed, guys, to register us even if we have debt, and also even if we didn't pay 50% of the outstanding debt. The university has secured 250 beds from accredited private accommodation service providers to assist students in need, including those that have been sleeping in libraries, as I said, and other places. Like us, like me, I wanted this year to get a place, especially here in which is near university, but I could not because I'm still waiting for an SFAS in order to answer me. These students are being assisted on daily basis as beds become available. The university and private services providers are also navigating in as fast decisions to cap accommodation cost at 45,000 per annum. Like I said, accommodation here, guys, is very expensive, and also, guys, sometimes we have to top up. I'm going to explain that. And also, guys, we have to top up around 8,000 to 10,000, in which it is a lot also. Even if we have NSFAS or a bazar, sometimes we have to top up, in which you have to pay upfront the 10,000. Then for the rest of the amount is going to be paid by NSFAS or the bazar. Vets appealed the decision and lobbied for a differentiated approach that takes a real cost of accommodation into account. This will be pursued as USAF. In the interim, Vets is assisting NSFAS funded students on campus and accredited private residents who have accepted the cap for this year. Once guys, I've been talking a lot. Now let's get into the SRC demands. So these are the demands that the SRC wants the university to do, or the financial institutions to do, especially NSFAS. This serves as a notice to all VTs, as today the SRC deems the university in a state of emergency until the following demands are met. All students owing 150,000 or less should be allowed to register for 2023 academic year. The 10,000 upfront fee for West residents should be waived, and for students to be allowed to move in. So what happens? The residents around here, they are owned by private sectors or by private companies. They require us sometimes to pay more than 10,000. Recently, I've been to Northwest University. If you haven't watched my vlog, I've been to University of Northwest. There, guys, I was in the residence of their residence, in which they are owned by private businesses. Guys, it's very good to live in there, because a 2 sharing bedroom, guys, you can pay 3.2 for each of the individuals, 3.2 plus 3.2, in which is gonna be around 6 or 5,000, in which, guys, is a very good thing. But here, guys, for a sharing, guys, especially for a sharing, you can get it for 4,000 something, in which, guys, in Northwest is 3.2, and you are also getting like the full experience, in which, guys, is the best accommodation that you can get also, like in Northwest University, those residents that students get. But here, guys, for the reason they are expensive, it's crazy, especially for students. It is crazy. The university must allocate an additional 30 million towards hardship accommodation in order to secure more beds for homeless students. The NSFAS 45,000 cap for residencies must be scrapped with immediate effect. All students who are recipients of hardship fund should be allowed to register and not pay the residual amount, in which, guys, these are the demands the SRC deems to the university. Now, guys, if the strike maybe happens again tomorrow, I'm going to take you through the whole thing. I can say, guys, for right now, I can say that's it. For my perspective, I can say, guys, that's it. I catch you guys in the next video. If, guys, you have been enjoying this video, guys, please share, subscribe, and tell me where I need to improve, so that, guys, we move along. So, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. This was your boy Poland. Guys, I'll catch you. Make the whole thing on what will be going on.